Hello everyone, welcome back to the Tech Sharmit podcast. Today I'm here with another special guest, Christian Sonnemans, who is joining us today from Netherlands. Christian is one of the well-known IBM champion and a seasoned expert in Unix systems and network administration. With a career spanning decades, Christian has become a trusted leader in a AIX and Unix world. So, today in this episode, we will delve into his fascinating journey in tech and will explore his contributions to the IT industry. But before we start the discussion, I would like to thank Christian for joining us today in this episode. And now I request you to please initiate the discussion by telling us something about yourself.
Okay, I'm Christian Sonnemans, living in the Netherlands, working for almost 3.5 decades with AIX on power systems. Also familiar with Cisco routers and network switching and those kinds of networking devices. Working at this moment for a Dutch bank called the Volksbank, working for this bank already for 23 years. So that's in short what I do.
Okay.
And I'm very honored to be a champion first year this year. Went to the Tech Exchange in Las Vegas in October, where I was also a speaker.
Okay, all right. Yeah, so we all know the way Christian is consistently contributing as an IBM champion. That's the reason like he's a well-known IBM champion in the industry, and everyone is looking towards him as an inspiration because he's not only doing his professional work, but apart from this, like he's also doing consistent effect in order to share their advocacy activities for the industry. So that's a great thing that sets you apart from others. So now, Christian, like we would love to hear more about your journey and motivations. So could you please start with like, can you share some of your career journey and like how you got started in this Unix system management and network administration?
All right. Yeah, sure. Well, I started a long time ago as an electronic engineer, and my first job was repairing system boards for the IBM PCs and
Mm-hmm.
also a Dutch brand of computers, Philips P2000s. That was a long time ago. I did electronic repair for those systems and printers as well.
Okay.
That was my first job. And later on, I was involved with installing novel networks, small networks in small offices. So that was the first job I got when I graduated from school. After that, I started working with another company that maintained also novel network, but my boss was working with SEO Unix,
Okay.
the forerunner of SEO Unix. And in that same company, a few years later, the first IBM RS6000 was introduced. And shortly after, I was also involved with installing RS6000s already. And my first release of AIX was release 3.1,
Mm-hmm.
for those who can remember it. Another weird hobby of mine is I gather software and old RS6000s and keep them running and maintaining them. And I'm still searching for AIX version 3.1. So if anyone has that, please send it to me.
Yeah.
Well, later on in my career, I moved to another company that was called EGT, European Geographic Technologies. We worked on car navigation systems, and later on, this company had another name called Navtech, which has also an American part of it. Working again with R6000s. I think it were 250 systems, 250s, 550 systems, and 220
Yeah.
systems. Very old systems, a long time ago. And together with the mainframe that was running with Philips on the Bosdijk, uh, we created digital databases for car and navigation systems.
Okay.
And well, later on my career, I moved to a Dutch dairy company, Campina, and they also work with R6000s and with SAP systems. For those days, very large systems, and we had to maintain those systems and keep them up and running, and installing SAP on it, and AIX, of course.
All right.
And my last change in my career, I'm working already now 23 years for a Dutch bank, the Volksbank, um, with several labels such as SNS Bank and ASN Bank, Regio Bank. Um, as I said, working already 23 years for this bank, and my role in this journey was to get it safe, secure, and because we are running a bank, and we like to have an uptime as high as possible for our applications, for our customers. So yeah, that's a bit my career in a nutshell.
Yeah, so like in these decades, like you have witnessed various domains and you have worked upon almost every aspect of Unix and administration part. So that's a really very inspiring thing for all of us. And now, like, I would like to ask you another thing, which is again related to your expertise in Unix system, particularly in AIX. So, what initially drew you to specialize in this system? Because there are other domains as well, right? But you decided, although like you have touched base few things in the first answer also, but I just want to ask, like, what were those specific initial things that sparked your interest to do the specialization in Unix system, and particularly in AIX?
Okay, well, I can talk a day of it, I think, but the the most important thing is the robustness of AIX and the stability of AIX that it had from the beginning. Um, oh, sorry, I forgot the question.
Yeah,
We,
the question is, what were the initial things that sparked your
right,
interest for specializing in Unix system, particularly AIX?
yeah. Well, for Unix systems in common, it's very easy to script things and makes it easier to maintain.
Mm-hmm.
And also the great logging features of a Unix system in particular will help with debugging and so on.
Okay.
Um, Especially AIX. Why AIX? AIX with its hardware platform underneath.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays we call it Power. It's very robust and reliable, and the operating system is tuned for the hardware and the
Mm-hmm.
RAS features that it has. So with this combination, we can now have an uptime of more than 4 or 5 years without any reboot. That's possible on AIX with special technologies such as Live Update. I think no other operating system can do that right at this moment. Linux is catching up. They're also working now with another form of Live Updates, but it's not exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
So that's drove me into the AIX world, which I started this journey 3.5 decades ago, and I'm still enjoying it because we have many of those features, including security features such as trusted execution and RBAC, also features that we are not seen on other operating systems.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, as you are working in this industry for a very long time, so how have you seen the role of Unix administrator evolve throughout the journey, especially with the emergence of technologies like cloud computing or maybe the DevOps? So, how the things have changed?
Well, indeed, things changed a lot.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, if you look at the subject patch management, which is also one of my favorite subjects,
Mm-hmm.
um, you see in the earlier days, you have to reboot your system several times because when you
Mm-hmm.
have a kernel update, you have to reboot it because you have to activate the new kernel. Um, Nowadays, we can do this with Live Update. That's also a favorite subject of mine. So with live update, it's possible to skip those reboots, and you can do a live update. You have a short freeze period of 15 to 20 seconds, and your application resumes
Mhm.
where it was. We in the earlier days, we as system administrators, we had to do everything. We had to shut down the application, move the application, reallocate it to another system, bring it up again, and well, that cost us many nightly hours, to be honest. Now we are in a kind of a shift of those technologies, with those technologies, that we can create scripts or Ansible scripts that we can develop an application so that the DevOps teams can run themselves their updates and apply themselves the right updates. So we are no longer involved doing the updates. The DevOps teams running themselves the right updates, and we only have to provide them when there is an update ready for installing them. We do that on monthly basis. So every month, every security patch is updated, and it doesn't matter if it is a kernel update or a normal update. The DevOps teams apply them, and we are kind of second level support for them.
Okay.
So our job is indeed changed. We creating scripts, we are creating Ansible routines to make this possible. And the only thing we have to do now is gather the right fixes for every month, every week, um, set them ready for them so that they can apply it.
Mhm. Okay.
And also with cloud, yeah, with cloud, it's another thing, and IBM, of course, knows exactly how to deal with this. You can also run AIX in the cloud; it's possible, but for some applications, it's still not handy to run them on cloud environments. Therefore, I'm a strong believer for hybrid cloud solutions. So if you need short network delays. If you cannot afford long network delays, cloud options are not always the best option. So hybrid
Okay.
cloud is then a good solution. And with the IBM Power environment, both worlds are possible, of course.
All right. Okay. So, if we talk about the AIX redesigning, because you have been involved in AIX redesign and upgrades since 2018. So, what are some of the key challenges you have encountered during that day, throughout the process, and how have you overcome them? Because nowadays everyone is, we all face challenges, right? So, but what sets us apart from other thing is how we are dealing with it, how we are taking care of all those obstacles. So, what were your mindset at that time, and how you deal with all those kind of challenges?
Yes, of course. Not always every new software is perfect, certainly
Yes.
not in the beginning. If you look at the security options of AIX, such as trusted execution, for example, I started with that with AIX release 6.1. Then
Okay.
it first came out, and I filed many cases for that to get it working for us situation, because we have an well, rather exotic environment with a lot of challenges. In the earlier days, when you reported the problem with IBM, the answer was most of the time, well, install the latest maintenance level and you are fixed. And if you still have a problem, then you can call us back. That is changed within IBM in a very positive way, because if you file now a case, they listen to the customer and they work with you together to fix this problem. So
Okay.
for trusted execution, I filed a lot of cases, to be honest, but at the end, the product is very stable and reliable in a way that we can provide our auditors with the right information that the patches are applied, the patches are saved, and the software is not modified. It helps us also to get intruders outside of the door, of course. Again, with live update in the beginning, it's now almost 4 years old, this technology. In the beginning, we had to struggle with it also, but I was very persuasive to get this technology working because a lot was on stake for me because I had to work always during the night to get those kernel fixes to be done. And now we are, since I think 3.5 years ago, we are so far that we are in a state that we don't run those updates anymore, but the teams are running themselves those updates, including on production. So that's a great achievement.
Okay.
And it's good to see that IBM listens to their customers. They
Yes.
have now, in the early days, they called it RFEs, request for enhancements. That is changed to IBM IDs. And when you file a new ID there or an enhancement that you would like to have in the operating system, they look at it, and if it is feasible and if there are enough customers interested in this, then they will build it for you. So that's very nice to see.
Okay. All right. So let's talk a bit about the Unix landscape. So how do you think the Unix landscape compares to other operating system architectures like Windows or Linux or in terms of reliability, security, and usability?
Yeah, it depends on which Unix flavor you're running, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I have the most experience with AIX. I have
Okay.
quite some experience with Linux. Windows, I cannot judge about that system because I don't have enough experience with Windows
Okay.
systems. So for AIX, indeed, it's very reliable, very robust, because also it runs on dedicated hardware. It runs on a
Mm-hmm.
power platform, which has also very good redundancy in the hardware itself, very good RAS capabilities. If you're running Linux on a power platform, you have the same hardware underneath. So yeah, Linux will have benefits for that. What I miss on Linux compared to AIX, because I'm a man who likes to work on the command line interface.
Mm-hmm.
What you see on AIX commands in general, if you know one command, then you know the other also, because the parameters and how it is provided is for every command, the syntax is for every command almost the same. And that's the difference with Linux, because Linux is built with many other developers within around the globe. So every command is different, and that makes it much more difficult for me to understand why a particular command is working that way. But anyway, Linux has also its good features and
Yes.
runs perfectly on a hardware platform as Power.
Okay.
If you compare the security things with AIX
Yeah.
and Linux, that's also a very main aspect which we are looking into it. If you
Mm-hmm.
look at AIX, it has trusted execution, which is, in my opinion, a very good and very simple solution. But if you look at Linux, they have SA Linux. It's not quite the same as trusted execution, and to be honest, you cannot compare it with each other because they're two different worlds. Both
Okay.
have their good things and both have things that can be improved, I think.
Okay. So there are pros and cons for both the things, right? Okay.
Yeah, yeah, indeed.
Okay. And Christian, like if we talk about integrating the systems and networks, so it's not that easy thing. So during your early days, while managing Unix and Cisco networks, how did you tackle those kind of unique challenges of integrating the systems and network in your working day?
All right, a good question. To be honest, I'm also a Cisco engineer in the early days. So I
Yeah.
started with a company that I had to learn both techniques. So in the former jobs I did, it was half networking, half Unix systems.
Mm-hmm.
And in my opinion, if you are a good Unix system engineer, you have to understand your network technology
Correct.
also. You cannot do without it. Same goes for the I/O subsystem. If you cannot understand and uh, know how your I/O subsystem works and what you have to do for that to make it redundant and robust, you
Mm-hmm.
cannot maintain a Unix system. So you have to know a bit of both. Well, in my case, I have a special interest. I had always a special interest for networking as well. I was also Cisco certified a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, then I talk about X25 networking, token ring, and thin Ethernet. So that's quite a while ago, but it helps you to understand what can go wrong and when you have retransmits and so on. So debugging your network stuff and make it more robust and redundant will help you to maintain a good Linux system.
Okay. So I think Christian, it's a right time to discuss bit about the IBM Champion program because we all can see your beautiful jacket, and we just want to know like how was your experience at IBM Tech Exchange because you recently attended that, and how the things are going on as an IBM Champion.
Well, it was, to be honest, it was quite an honor to get nominated at the end of 23. I was nominated by 4 IBMers,
Mm-hmm.
probably because they saw the work I did already with writing some blogs and the work I did with Live Update. So it was quite an honor to become an IBM champion earlier this year. Um, and I had the intention to go to the tech exchange to Barcelona,
Mm-hmm.
but I became ill, so that was not possible.
Okay.
So I get a second chance. My boss approved it. I'm very thankful to him. My boss approved it, and I was able to go to the tech exchange in Las Vegas. Then I was challenged by another IBMer, two other IBMers, Chris Gibson, and also a well-known person within IBM world. He's an Australian, and
Okay.
he encouraged me to give a session in Las Vegas about live update. So that was far beyond my comfort zone, but I took that challenge and I did it. And well, I think it was a nice session.
Okay. So it was overall great experience there, right?
It was a really great experience, and I wouldn't miss it.
Okay.
So it was a great experience, and the Tech Exchange was a great week to be there to meet all those persons in face to face. Very nice week. I learned a
Okay.
lot, made a lot of new friends. I did a lot of networking,
Yeah.
so it was a really great week.
Okay. All right. So, Christian, like reflecting on your career, who would you consider as a key mentors or maybe the influences in your life, and what special attribute did they offer to you?
All right. Well, my key mentor, that's not a difficult one
Mm-hmm.
question to answer. That is my father. My father always believed in it. My father was a gardener. He
Okay.
had a big greenhouse in the early days, in early 80s. And he also was his time ahead. He had a climate computer who regulated the climate in that greenhouse.
Mm-hmm.
And he always challenged me, well, fix it first, try to fix it first before we get a technician. So that
Okay.
was my my real mentor. And later on in my technical career, I had several mentors, good mentors. My first mentor who taught me a bit about Unix systems, Xenix and SEO Xenix and Unix. That was also a very nice guy who, as a matter of fact, showed me the way to maintain Unix in common. Other mentors, great mentors. I mentioned his name already, Chris Gibson. I always read his blogs because they are very useful and very learningful. Also Nigel Griffiths, the Englishman, Mr. Enmon, very nice guy. Please look at his videos. He's still active. He is retired at this moment, but his videos are great. So
Okay.
yeah, that are really the good mentors of AIX world.
All right. Okay.
And
So,
last but least, and I cannot forget her, of course, that's my
mhm.
wife. She always standing right behind me and provides me the time to do it for making this possible.
Okay. All right. So thank you so much for taking all those names and for giving the shout out to them, because they are for sure like they have played a vital role in your life. So it's a good to give them a recognition or just give a shout out in a smarter way. So that's a good thing. And here, like although like we have various things that to discuss related to AIX or your professional achievements, but just because of the limitation of time, I would like to ask my last question, and it is related to your day-to-day activities. Like, is there any specific activities you engage in that helps you to maintain a balanced life, or which the things that you love to do in your free time?
Oh, the things that I love to do in my free time. I have a lot of hobbies, so
Mm-hmm.
I have to pick out the most important ones. Well, a hobby of mine is running. I run almost 3 or 4 times a week.
Okay.
It's good for doing my workouts in the evening. If I sit the whole day behind my screen, it's a good thing to do. Another thing that I like to do is gardening. In during summertime. Now it's bad weather over here, so but in summertime I like gardening. And my old hobby still there, working with electronics, repairing stuff. It's still a hobby of mine. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So thank you so much, Christian, for joining us today and for sharing so much information related to AIX and your professional journey. So it was nice talking to you, and I hope you also enjoyed the discussion. So thank you once again for being a part of this show.
Okay. You're welcome.